So, after playing Dragalia Lost for a while now, you've decided that you love tearing bosses out of overdrive, but prefer the mobility and control of blades. Well, you're in luck, and the developers also understand this desire to be totally cool, and added Albert to the game. But since Albert is a 5-star character and is hard to obtain, we got another sword who wanted to be a blade, but decided he looked too cool with a sword instead. He was not wrong. Kuhai, the Rambling Blade, is in fact not a blade, but does play very similarly to one. He's a 4-star wind sword, first introduced in the Springtime Spree summoning showcase. Having grown up in Penglai, the town, not the dragon, he trained in the art of the sword and left to wander the world. I won't spoil his story, it's actually pretty good, so go read it if you get him. But if you do obtain him, Kuhai will finally settle down in the Halidom for a while. Or forever, I guess. I have no clue why even heroes from other worlds never leave except for groceries. Anyhow, Kuhai is a sword unit, and as such excels at attacking up close, using a 4-strike every few hits for extra breaking power. Just remember as you play Kuhai that if you see anyone performing acts of injustice, you should definitely step in to help stop it. Why does that sound familiar? While his sword kit is nice, Kuhai's skills transform his moveset into that of a blade, allowing him to stealthily sneak in that epithet. His first skill is Soaring Flicker, which causes Kuhai to soar into his enemies that then may flicker out of existence. But his second skill, Keen Blade, is what really changes his moveset, activating Apsaris formation, which boosts his critical rate and 4-strike power. But the real effect is that his 4-strike now causes him to perform a jump into a dodge roll, granting Kuhai the maneuverability of a blade. It may seem inconvenient for this mobility to be locked behind a skill, but these things charge pretty fast. Kuhai's connection to Penglai grants him Dragon Haste. Penglai the dragon, not the town. This naming thing is super confusing. But apparently being indecisive about weapon choice goes past sword and blade, as Kuhai also wanted the dagger's critical rate, and as such has semi-relevant abilities. His first one raises critical damage, and so does his third one, promoted to 5-star, so try to get that rate above the base 2%. On that note, Kuhai is Bogrez, and is an okay choice for High Mercury's challenge if you don't already have Melody, Addis, even Musashi, or any other actual blade that isn't playing pretend. But if you don't want to invest heavily into actual blades, Kuhai can still be tons of fun to play each time you lose the fight. At least, that's how it was before we got the new equipment. The new Void weapon you can craft with High Mercury's Bane makes an excellent choice for the battle. For more general content, well, none of the core ones have stats and a good skill. Whirlpool Res is useless, so is Fury Penetrator. Ooh, Hurricane Apogee isn't totally useless. That'll make a good general weapon, at least better than the alternatives. For Wyrmprints, Kuhai is very well traveled, and as such is familiar with many Wyrmprints of diverse cultural origin. Heralds of Hinamoto is a good print with skill haste, potentially allowing Kuhai to play make-believe for more of the fight. On that note, he's kind of copying Albert's style, so I'd recommend Levin's Champion. Do not tell me Albert was added after Kuhai, the print came first. For his dragon, Penglai, the dragon, is probably the first one you'd think of, but instead I would recommend Rock or Yulong, whose backstories also have them versed in travel. For teammates, Adetta comes to mind, as she also loves to travel. On the note of traveling, Francesca knows some about it too as a traveling saleswoman, and as a dagger she can boost Kuhai's critical rate and actually make his abilities not meaningless. Let's see, for the last partner, that's why he sounded familiar. Carl can help seek out injustice and smite it with extraordinary flair. In summary, Kuhai is a nice sword who does a very convincing blade impression. He's one of only 2 wind swords in the game, and since Galaranzel's so rare, he's probably the only viable choice for the role. Just remember to do something about that low critical rate or his whole kit is going to be largely useless, and you'd be better off playing with an actual blade.